There's a lie that a lot of creators believe. You think if my work is good enough, it'll speak for itself. No, your work doesn't speak for itself. You do all the talking. If you've been creating for a while and you're not seeing the growth that you want, the truth is that you don't have a content problem. You don't have a consistency problem either. You do, however, have a visibility problem. And you most likely created it. The thing that is killing your growth isn't the algorithm. It is the part of you that people want to see, but you keep cutting it out. People don't fall in love with the output. They fall in love with the story, the process behind it, right? We want to see, we want to know the thinking behind those great ideas, the struggles behind building those amazing skills that you have, and the decisions that you've made behind the results that we see. And when you refuse to show or give us the story, you're not being humble, neither are you being mysterious, you're just being invincible. And invisibility in this world is expensive because it will get you nowhere. If you keep hiding all the messy middles, all the behind the scenes, the doubts, the messy backgrounds, the unfinished thinking, all that happens behind the process, you will stay replaceable, no matter how good your ideas are. However, when you start revealing in the right layers, right, you will become harder to ignore. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what you're hiding, why it's killing growth, and exactly how to reveal without oversharing. If you think growth comes from being impressive, no, it doesn't. You don't have to know it all, neither do you have to have it all, right? When people can see how you think and they also see the process and the thought results of all that amazing ideas, right? It becomes easier to trust in where you're going and to believe in that. If they can track your progress, then they can justify believing in you. You want to think of it this way, right? If your work was a book, then you're probably just showing off the cover page. And that's not enough. What happens to all the pages inside of it, the content? There is more to you and there's more to your work than just the cover. And to be honest, I get it. I get why we like to hide because it feels safe, it feels comfortable. But then again, you have to ask yourself something. Why are you hiding if you want to be seen? Could it be the fear of looking unqualified? You're probably thinking, oh no, if they see me struggle, then they will lose respect for me. No. And I feel like you need to tweak your brain a little bit to kind of see from my perspective. That is the pinnacle. That's the highlight for me. It's just like watching a thriller movie. And when the main character gets captured and he's locked up and he's stuck, and this guy's a badass or a girl. This girl is a badass, right? We're probably thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen next? How's she going to overcome, right? And that's why you see that most movies don't just end on that note, right? There's always a scene or scenes where that main character overcomes that struggle or setback, right? And you need to be seeing it that way because if you don't complete your story, someone is going to complete your story for you, or people are going to complete your story for you. And most times it is worse. So struggles, fear of looking unqualified, show it. But then show us how you overcome it. Show us how you solve that problem. Show us how you had a bad filming day and then you made the most of it the same day or the next day. Show us how you struggle with creating content, because a lot of us do struggle with creating content. Show us how you try to be confident, or show us your personality. Show us something that can be used as gold for you. Once you realize that a lot of us are still learning and unlearning, and that's something that I do and I keep doing every single time. Like, no matter how good I am, there's always something better that I could incorporate and I could learn and I could infuse into what I do, right? So your best self right now is never going to be your best self in a month's time, in a year's time, because you're going to keep upgrading and growing, and growth is inevitable, right? As long as you're living. So no matter how you perceive yourself, it's sometimes not the way other people perceive you. Sometimes vulnerability is your superpower, and your ability to share the process behind that also carries a lot of weight and power. And it also changes lives. You cannot grow unless you start and learn. And that's something I've learned in life is no matter how good you are or how brilliant you are, it's a cycle. You need feedback. You need to put it out there. You need to receive feedback and you need to learn from that feedback. And it's a continuous cycle. It's like every business does this. And that's why you have like customer reviews. No matter how amazing the brand is, there is always an angle, a twist, a way for that brand or that content or that creator to improve. Also, don't confuse mystery with power, right? If you're thinking, mystery kind of makes you interesting, maybe, but there is no depth when there is mystery without context. All that does is kind of makes you look and feel distant, unreachable, guessable. Like there is nothing that can be attached to you. And that's not what you want because you become scrollable, gettable, you're not sticking and you want to stick. So if you're a perfectionist and you're hiding and you're waiting until you're done, I want you to know this, right? Growth is in the middle, not at the end. Because you have to test your product, your content, whatever it is. You have to get feedbacks on it. You have to get questions on it. You also have to make revisions on it. And it's a cycle. You do that all over and all over and all over again. Sometimes we get stuck on one thing, trying to get it perfect, and it could take weeks, months, sometimes years. Years that you could have been using to get feedback, revise it, improve it, grow. You're now stuck on getting that one thing to launch or to grow or to upload. And this got me thinking because I realized that sometimes the contents that do well are the ones that sometimes require little to no effort, whereby the ones that we spend hours, days, weeks, months, sometimes creating, producing, editing, it doesn't get that much traction. There's something you need to study there. And sometimes it's just the process that you might have shown, right? So over editing sometimes might not be the key, or spending a lot of time trying to get it perfect while taking out a lot of substance or showing off the real you or the behind the scenes. So I wanted to take this home and I wanted to know this because this is the hard truth, right? If you keep hiding, your audience will never know how you think and never understand your thought process. And someone else who is more audacious will take up your space and pass you loudly. Take that. Keep that in your head and replay it every single time you try to hide. So this is what we're going to do, right? We're going to reveal the process and not the wound, right? You don't want to share trauma. You want to share tension. You don't want to vent. You want to narrate decisions. You don't want to expose chaos, but you want to expose cause and effects. These are the actions that I took, and these are the results that I yielded. And this is what we're going to be doing over and over again. So there are several ways that you can share your work without oversharing. And this is going to give proof to your efforts, your progress, your work, the behind the scenes, all of that. Right? And one way you can do that is by sharing your input. So basically, what feeds you, what inspires you, what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're learning, all that happens behind the scenes that helps to form your thought process, your ideation process, you as a person, right? Secondly, you can share your work in progress. I love this because this shows you how you got there. It shows you the in-betweens. It shows you what you're doing now, the lessons you've learned, the behind the scenes, the draft. The process, in summary, gives us insight into your creation world and what happens in that creation world and not just the output. And you can teach macro lessons, basically share something small that you've learned from your experience. So it could be something about lenses, for instance, what you've learned from a new lens you've got, what you've learned from creating content, from hair, from makeup, from how to apply foundation, whatever it is, cooking. This can be applied across multiple niche. And next up, you can also explain one decision. You're giving insight into how your thought process is, what happens behind the decisions that you've made. So, for instance, it could be about why you got a phone, why you got a camera. There are decisions behind the decisions you've made. There are reasons behind the decisions that you've made. You kind of want to share that if you can, right? So, for instance, for me, this phone, I got it because it's amazing for content creation. Quality is amazing. Videography, in terms of creating video content, it is amazing. There's so many things I can do on this, edits, type, it's countless. So that could be one video. I can do a video on lenses, on lighting, on microphone, on whatever it is, and share that decision process. Also, you can show the before and the after with steps. This one I feel like is very common in the beauty world, where we show you guys the before the makeup and then after the makeup application, and then the steps in between that. You can apply this across multiple niche, and you can also adopt this as well. You can do in terms of content creation, how you draft, how you script, how you outline, how you film, how you edit. Even when it comes to editing, how you edit can be broken down in steps. You can import, trimming, adding music, effects, all of that, export, color grading. Yeah. So you can do that, but also break it down with steps. Another thing you can do is to share your tools and how you use them. I find this one to be something very dear to me because I do this a lot. I like to share with you guys my camera, my setup, my lighting, and also show you guys exactly how I use them. So you can do that as well. It gives more insight into your world and why you think. There's so many crazy things that I've done in terms of like my content setup that it gives people insight into the crazy world of mine in terms of how I think. I've used so many things to hang my backdrops. I've used so many things to hang my camera. I've done crazy things, but also it gives people an idea and insight, and it also inspires them as well. You can share one mistake and how you fix that mistake. You can also share what you're planning next. I mean, there are tons of ways that you can show your work without oversharing, but also show yourself without oversharing as well. So oversharing is basically emotions without structure. We don't need that. But showing your work is process and progress with intention. And that's what we're doing. So we're not exposing ourselves, we're just proving that we're real. When you do this, something shifts, right? Because now people will stop scrolling past you because now they're following a story, right? You go from being replaceable to now being referenced. And I want you to know something. I want you to know that you're not invincible because you lack value. You're invincible because you're hiding evidence. So start revealing how you move and not just when you arrive. And I hope that this video is going to be impactful to someone who feels like they are comfortable where they are hiding, and it gives you enough leverage to start showing up and start sharing the behind the scenes, the you that we don't see, that you're hiding. And I hope that this year brings a lot of growth to your brand, your channel, your content as a whole. And I can't wait to see you in the next one, and I will see you in the next one. So stay subscribed. Subscribe if you're yet to subscribe, like, share, comment, and I will see you in the next one. And like I always say, make sure you stay creating. Bye, guys.